So we finally have a Pro keyboard for the Samsung Galaxy Tab S11, and it comes in two different colors for $400 in the US. So is it really worth buying? My name is Zach with Android Digest, and I'm gonna let you know if this Pro keyboard is any good. So let's get right into it. So this video is very hard to make, because there are two different sides to this. On one end, this is by far the best keyboard cover that I have used for a tablet on Android. It is phenomenal. We finally get a nice, premium, well-built keyboard cover with backlighting, with a very nice touchpad or a trackpad. It is just so nice overall to use. So I absolutely love it. The key travel is good. It is very much a pro style keyboard. It is made of aluminum, which is really great. So there's a lot that I absolutely love about it. And if you have invested a lot of money already in a Tab S11 Ultra, then you really might want to consider this pro level keyboard. But there's another side to this. Spending $400 on any keyboard cover feels absolutely insane. Now I will admit I did pay about $340 after an educational discount, but whether you're paying $350 or $400, regardless, that is still so expensive for a good keyboard cover. Even if it's made of aluminum, it does just feel like too much to me. The competition out there, like from Apple for example, they have been charging a very hefty price tag on their keyboard covers. And Samsung was already charging like $350 for a keyboard cover for the Tab S10 Ultra that is not even made of aluminum. So spending just a little bit more to get an incredible keyboard cover here that's made of aluminum that feels so premium, it basically turns this into like a laptop overall. It is great. But I don't care what Apple charges or what Samsung is trying to charge here. It is pretty much lunacy to have to pay that much for a keyboard cover. Even $350 is way too much. There are also some flaws with this keyboard cover. So if you look at it, how it works basically, you just have to magnetize the keyboard cover. On the back of the tablet, you're going to see these pins here, and they just magnetize to this part on the keyboard cover. Now that is fine and dandy, and it's pretty nifty, pretty cool. And when you do that, it attaches and the touchpad starts working. All of that is great. But there are two flaws to this keyboard cover that we have to talk about. First of all, there is no way to protect your S Pen this year with this keyboard cover. Now last year with the Tab S10 Ultra, at least there was a way to protect the S Pen on the back of the tablet with the case that it had, but unfortunately there is no way this year to protect the S Pen at all. The S Pen doesn't have Bluetooth, and it does just magnetize to the top of your tablet. I have already lost one of my S Pens for one of my tablets, and I would not be surprised if I lose it again. So that is one knock on this keyboard cover. And another flaw of this keyboard cover is the fact that it won't protect your device very well. If you actually attach it to the back, you'll notice that the cameras are fully exposed. There's no case that magnetizes to the back that actually protects your cameras, or there's nothing actually sticking out of your device to protect it if it were to fall. So this is not a super protective keyboard cover. And if you do actually drop this device on the back, well then you could actually potentially damage your cameras. So those are technically the negatives of this keyboard cover, but there are a lot of positives that we have to talk about. Again, this keyboard cover is super well built. It feels so premium. It does weigh a little more than the slim keyboard cover. It's about 200 extra grams roughly of weight. The slim keyboard cover weighs about 470 grams, but this pro level keyboard does weigh around 650 grams. So you're talking about almost 200 extra grams of weight. So this is what Samsung really had to contend with. If they did actually put a case that is all the way on the back of the tablet, that would obviously increase the weight quite a bit. And I'm sure there will be eventually some type of third-party accessories that will actually attach to the back, maybe around the camera module, that could still protect that, but still actually keep the keyboard cover on. Hopefully some accessory makers will make something like that. But either way, this keyboard cover, it is just very, very nice. I am telling you, the travel on the keys, it is pretty darn good. Of course, it is still pretty thin, so it's not going to be quite as good as some laptops out there that are going to have thicker keyboards. But still, it is very, very well built. It feels extremely sturdy whenever you're using this keyboard cover. The travel, again, is very good on the keys. The touchpad actually feels really, really nice too. It's not a haptic touchpad technically, but either way, it does still feel very, very good whenever I'm using it day to day. Now, the backlighting is a little bit weak, I will say that. I had to turn off most of my lights whenever I was testing the backlighting because I couldn't really see it in normal conditions. So it is a little bit weak, but if it is a darker room, you will still notice some backlighting, and you can actually adjust that on the keyboard. It's also nice that there is a little bit of a light whenever you are actually turning on your caps lock. And using the touchpad, the gestures whenever I was using those, it was very, very smooth. And even when I was typing on the keyboard, I didn't notice that much jumping around. It was actually pretty good with the palm rejection, at least in my initial testing. So in the past, I've seen a lot of bugs with some Samsung Galaxy keyboard covers. It would occasionally miss a keystroke or something like that. I always seem to have a few minor issues with them, but this keyboard cover has fixed all of those things. It just works great. It is a great typing experience. It really does feel like I'm typing on a laptop. The touchpad also feels very, very good too. It doesn't feel super cheap, and it doesn't feel like a haptic touchpad, okay? So it's going to be in the middle, but it still feels good. So whenever you get that, there's not much you could really talk about. It is just a great overall experience. Now, yes, you will see some occasional fingerprints, of course, but it's not a huge deal. You could always wipe those off. And if I'm honest, even the slim keyboard cover, it would tend to get some fingerprints pretty easily, and I would have to clean those off pretty frequently. Now, I do want to mention one more thing here. I want to mention the different angles you could use this keyboard cover at. If you do get a slim keyboard cover, you are locked to one specific angle, and that is a little bit unfortunate. But with this keyboard cover, the way it works, you could actually tilt the screen back or forward, and you have quite a few different angles that you can use. There's this little bar here, and this bar will actually go flush whenever you do close it up, and whenever you open it up, it will give it some space to where you can adjust that screen to whatever angle that you prefer. So it is really nice overall, but again, there are some things that I don't like. So if you are someone out there, if you're trying to get a good keyboard cover, if you're wondering, is this keyboard cover great? Is it worth it? I would say it's a phenomenal keyboard cover that I am in love with. For me, I am going to keep it because it does feel like it does make my tablet a much more premium experience. It does bring that screen to life because you get that great, ginormous, anti-reflective display that looks so darn beautiful, and that's why you buy a tablet. You often buy it so you could have that great experience, but then you also get a laptop keyboard whenever you want it. Obviously, you could just take it off whenever you want to, but if you do want to keep it on, you're going to have a great experience getting productive. I love this keyboard cover, but I still have to admit, it's going to be expensive, and that is something that if you're complaining about it, I fully understand. The slim keyboard cover is still a good option. I know there are other options from Sahara that I have mentioned in the past, so you might want to look at other options if this is a little bit too expensive for you. And if you want to criticize Samsung for that, if you want to criticize Apple and all of these companies for taking advantage of people, I completely get it. Some of you bought a Tab S11 Ultra, you might have bought it for like 800 bucks. Maybe you bought it open box and got a great deal on it. And then you're expected to pay like $400 for a keyboard cover or $350. Whatever you're paying, that might seem outrageous. And I would not blame you if you felt that way. And if you're someone that wants protection for your stylus, I would not blame you if you're upset. Even Microsoft with their Surface keyboards, they have found good ways to protect that stylus. So I know they could have learned from other people and protected the stylus. I know they could have made it more protective overall for the back of this device because there are cameras that are sticking out, so that means that those cameras could get damaged if you drop your tablet. So if you are worried about that, or maybe you're worried about losing your S Pen, or you might be worried about that big price tag, I wouldn't blame you one bit if any of those things scared you away from buying this. But I can't just let that be the story, because a lot of people, they have been clamoring for a Pro keyboard for a long time. And the fact that we have one that feels so good to use, that is so enjoyable, that finally has decent travel on the keys, it has worked well for me, and the touchpad also works pretty good too. So at least with my usage of it since I've gotten it, I have really enjoyed this keyboard cover. And of course, I'm sure over the months I will do a little bit of an update here. So these colors, there are multiple color options to choose from. If you are interested in this keyboard cover or even other keyboard cover options, feel free to check the links in the description because I will have links for those, or you could even check the YouTube links that are at the top of the description or the banners that pop up in the video, whatever. There are plenty of ways to check out those links for these keyboard covers. Also, if you are interested in other videos, just know I talk a lot about Android and Android phones and tablets, so if you are interested in those things, please stay tuned to my channel because I'm going to be talking a lot about Android and even Galaxy tablets over the coming months. So I want to close out this video by just saying something encouraging because life is very, very hard. And if you're going through a rough week, I really hope it gets better. I hope you have a great day, and I hope no matter what you're going through in life, that you can have a better week.